The government's initiative to bar aliens into the country until their work permits are processed. Do you support the government's initiative to bar aliens into the country until their work permits are processed? As usual, Twitter handle at KTN News, my Twitter handle at Zeta Brenda. I can see so much of your feedback on social media, so let's continue having that conversation at KTN News or at Zeta Brenda. That's how you can reach us on social media platform, that is Twitter, of course. All right, so that discussion we're having this morning with Dr. Duncan Ojwang, who's a Dean Faculty of Law at the African Nazarene University and is also an immigration law expert. Dr. Ojwang, you've heard what Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i has to say. He says that so many foreigners, illegal foreigners are in the country conducting illegal business. And of course, the question is, how do these foreigners get into the country and how do they acquire the documents?
If they have documents, because the fact that you are illegal means you don't have documents, or they have expired or lapsed, or you have changed status. It's possible that you came as a visitor, you had a valid visitor pass or visa, but now you are no longer a visitor. You are investing in doing business, especially informal business. So the immigration status change. How about if somebody came as a visitor and but they have fallen in love with a Kenyan and now they are a Kenyan spouse? You know, their status will change immediately from visitor visa to a dependent pass, because now you can't deport a wife of a citizen. So immigration status is fluid. But beyond that, I don't like the face we are having of immigration being these poor, informal people, because, you know, there is a book called White Expatriates, African aliens or illegal. So the face and the storyline is that you know, the poor from these other African countries, yet really it's at the high end of jobs where we have jobs being grabbed from Kenyans. Mm-hmm. So they're looking at the informal sector, somebody who is hawking down the street, and then this and setting Kenyans to really make life impossible for them, which is okay. So they will be reporting them, they will be whistleblowers, and they will make it conducive, mm-hmm. which can also go too far. Mm-hmm. But they are ignoring a call. At some point, the director of NGOs was saying there is a system where somebody set an NGO here, bring people from these countries like US and Britain, make 4 or 5 times more than Kenyan, mm-hmm. In a skill that a Kenyan could have done. Okay. But now when we talk of crackdown, you can see from the pictures there that we have a single narrative, mm-hmm. of who are the illegal immigrants, mm-hmm. and then these are Africans and the low paying jobs. Okay. Not necessarily. I want to see people being hauled from offices, okay. and from conferences, mm-hmm. and from well-paying jobs. Some of these people, for example, somebody is earning $500,000 while Kenyans don't have job, mm-hmm. in a job that Kenyans should have earned. Okay. These are not the people they are going for. Okay,
and we shall get into that we shall get to that conversation later on. But as you were playing the clip, it was on air, and you had Matiang'i say that now foreigners will have to apply for work permits from their country before they get into Kenya, because he says that nowadays it's been a tradition where they come into the country, then they apply for the work permits. What is the legal right channel of getting a work permit into a country, especially Kenya?
You know, we don't have United Nations model immigration law. So this will vary from state to state, I mean country to country. But I think he's right on the point, because I've processed and I've helped people who are applying for jobs in the US. It's called H-1B for professional, for example. So you will get a work permit authorization before you even go for your visa interview in Kenya, if you are going to work there. So the employer will have identified you, will have advertised that job in the US, and said why there is nobody interested in the job. In fact, the requirement is that it should be advertised in 2 public newspapers, that same job. And so if there is nobody who can grab that job, is when they can now look for a foreigner, and then they apply for your work permit. Before you even engage and you have visa in your hand, then after that, you pay money for that work permit. Is when then you now go to their embassy to apply for a visa with the intention to go work. We have been doing it the opposite way. And so I think that is in order. That is a standard procedure, as he's saying, and we will really change, because once I've come in the country, then your constitution takes effect. I get some rights. It's harder to deport people. It is harder to crack, and it's harder to, because now I have human rights that must be protected. Sometimes it's at the government cost, and than to simply not open the door. Standard practice is, rather than bargaining with somebody inside the house, if they're a threat, you just keep them out of the house. So I think that is really in order. Okay.
So the 60-day ultimatum that was issued by the Interior Cabinet Secretary, is it enough to crack the whip? Or we need more time?
For illegal immigrants?
Yes.
You see, and this is where they're expecting, remember the hotline that is supposed to be for the public. You see, enforcement of immigration status is a very technical area that even ordinary lawyer cannot practice in that area. So I'm wondering if I'm a random citizen walking by, what is this that look like a suspicious immigrant?
So you're saying that the 60 days is not enough?
60 days is not enough, and the way they are going about it is still targeting those poor people, and it is meant to backfire, because I've seen it is possible to have overzealous Kenyans who will now be hunting from their residence and wherever, and by the way, this is an overarching argument that we think that a lot of immigration are Africans living to Europe. In fact, this has been disapproved. There is a lot of internal immigration within Africa, both historically and currently, and it's not captured. So you have had Europe arguing that, you know, we have an influx of African immigrants. No, a lot of Africans migrate from within. They are ahead of regional integration. Remember, countries that gave us borders like Europe are saying now we are going to have a borderless whatever. We are not there yet. So each country is protecting their territory. Okay.
Let's talk about the hotline number that was given by the government, the Ministry of Immigration. And it does not really indicate what Kenyans need to look out for. Because you're saying suspicious, a suspicious person. Yeah. Can really that be a merit in terms of reporting someone? Because you might end up reporting someone who's not even a foreigner.
Yeah, and maybe you can argue that there is no harm if the immigration officer come and find that, no, I'm not a foreigner, you see, I'm not whatever. Or are they expecting myself, when I'm walking down the street of Nairobi, to stop somebody and say, hey, can I see your immigration papers? Are they in order? And if they're not in order, then I pick out my phone and call Matiang'i. I mean, it is silly. in the sense that it is activism, but it is meant to backfire, because you know the kind of people who will be, might lead to extortion, because I'm going to report you unless you give me some money. In fact, in my experience, like when I was in the US, it was common for people to threaten immigrants with that. So you will find like a foreign student who have overstayed their visit, their F1, that's the student visa, have lapsed. They have broken with their girlfriend who is an American, and as a revenge, they make sure they call the immigration to teach this African a lesson, for example. So it is going to go out of hand. It's going to target those poor people, and the enthusiastic people are probably going to take it too far.
So how should the ministry handle this? In terms of the hotline number, what instruction should they give Kenyans?
You know, they should be saying that, for example, even in this is a real debate in countries of immigrants, even in the US, so that they require that before you rent apartment or to anybody, you must check the immigration status. It is to make it hard for for somebody in illegal status to find a board. So before I give you a house, before I give you a job, surely I must check your immigration status. How can I give you a job and you are out of status? So if for example, you have children you want to admit, I have to check your immigration status. But if you look at our constitution, for example, right to education is a right to all human, not just Kenyans. So we have in our constitution some rights that apply whether you are immigrant or not. For example, due process. Now, who you have received due process, if this person is there and it's an individual and is not an expert in immigration, what looks suspicious? That could lead to discrimination based on nationality, which we are not allowed, discrimination based on race, which we are not allowed, and even immigration, discrimination on other grounds, including religion. So I'm seeing the people there, I could assume they belong to a certain religion, and I could just park at the mosque and then check one by one, give me your papers. And I have a number here to call.
Then you call?
Yes.
Okay. So right now I'd like us to take a short commercial break, but when we come back we shall continue engaging Dr. Ojwang, and specifically when it comes to deportation of the illegal migrants, because remember, Interior Cabinet Secretary said that Kenya spends annually about 360 million just to deport these illegal immigrants. So the question is, who should be taking the cost of deportation? That is a discussion that we will have with Dr. Ojwang after the short commercial break.